All right. Good. We are starting, so I will just share this quickly before we begin. Please keep in mind, people, I will also possibly get a call from my new manager during the middle of this, but I will try to get my reading done and anybody else's reading before that. If anything, um, yeah, sorry, I was trying to get this to load. It was kind of freezing. At least we have internet. Apparently, some people who are with Rogers don't even have internet right now. So that sounds pretty brutal. Anyways, yeah, as I was saying though, if the manager does call, I will take that call or whatever. In fact, you're more than welcome to listen to it. It's kind of exciting. And then I would just continue with the program after. So it might cause the program to run a little bit later, but we will do our best to get it finished in the right time. As I said, I don't know when they're calling, and I want to keep this going. Like I've kept this consistent, unless something has come up, and I don't even know exactly the time when they're gonna call. So I'm like, you know what? They might not even call until after 7:30. So we'll just do our best with the time we're going. Okay. And actually, I was watching Card Captor Software earlier today. I watched the last two episodes again, and I was kind of feeling like a very inspiring sensation by the end of the last two episodes. I've seen it many times, but I love rewatching it, right? And especially with trying to quit smoking, there was a lot of temptations today. Today was a battle, but at the same time, I've tried to tell myself, well, if I'm being tested and challenged, then something really good is probably going to happen as a result after. So I have to be grateful and happy for the test and the challenge because of what's to come. Most people, they get thrown off balance because they get tested and they push what they want farther away from them. So you got to persist with faith, keep yourself like excited and happy knowing what's to come no matter what. Anyways, shuffle these cards a little bit more, and then I will start with general reading, followed by romance and career, and then I will discuss the latest, newest topics for everybody as well. Okay, so for general reading, I'll draw that since I already draw that one, and then okay, great cards of Clow read, created from the sun and the moon and the stars. Reveal to me the secrets that you are meant to tell me. Guide me now through the Spirit of God within the universal consciousness. Ladies. Oh, okay. These are interesting cards today indeed. First, we have the twin. The twin, well, oddly enough, that actually symbolizes the battle of the old and the new self, um, symbolizing change. The next one is the song card. So that kind of ties into the idea of the meeting with the manager. And then the mirror card. The mirror card is very interesting. And once I actually show and read off all the cards, the fly and the dash. So what this is telling me too, from the general idea of all of this, is there is a conflict between the old and the new self. However, there's good opportunities with the music to move to new heights, new places, hence the fly card. The mirror it has been reflecting like the struggles internally on the outside throughout the day. I've noticed that. So the mirror is actually a symbolism of how do you see yourself, how others see you, and from my understanding of it, with the combination of these other cards, the mirror is actually saying that the reflection has changed from what it used to be. It's almost like it's giving off twin reflections. And then, oddly enough, I'm a Gemini. The Geminis are the twins. And then the dash, which means that things are going to start happening really fast paced as far as the general reading of the future. Okay, great cards of Clow read. Please reveal to me more regarding the general future that lies ahead. Huh? Sand, jump, dream. Hmm. All of these cards tie into it very well as well. The sand symbolizes a difficult journey ahead. The jump symbolizes that I am going to be taking a leap of faith, massive jumps. But based on all the other cards, my dreams are finally coming into fruition. The dream card. The sleep that I have been in is finally awakening. And this is going to create a massive change. Now, what I did too, oddly enough, when I was, which you'll notice me, I have been yawning a few times, kind of trying not to be loud or obnoxious about it, but I've been yawning because I ate a lot of food today. It wasn't intended for me to eat so much food, but it just kind of happened. It is what it is, right? And then I also went for a lot of walks. So I really tried to drain the energy out of me so that there wouldn't be an excess energy like making me crave smoking, right? So which I think I might have overdone in some cases. Wasn't trying to, but that's just kind of how things played out. Anyways, that's the general reading. And now we will get into romance. So let's see what the cards shall reveal to me regarding the upcoming news of my romantic situation. Redis. Uh-huh. Ah. Ah. Whoa. Oh, oh, oh. Mm, mm. Ooh, these are very interesting cards I got today. I'm like, ooh, these are very good cards. They're very interesting. Okay, the first one is the shield, which what that I believe, especially given the reading that it's aimed for, is telling me that the one I love most acts like a shield. It protects me from negative things, which I would agree, and it makes a lot of sense because I find when I'm going through negativity by focusing on the one I love and thinking, okay, yeah, this is hard. Yeah, this is a test. This is a trial I'm going through. But I have to get better. I have to do my best for the one I love. It sort of acts like a shield to motivate me, to keep me from staying in sort of that negative spiral. So that definitely is a very good thing. Hmm. Next, the sleep card also has a double meaning in that sense. I'm very sleepy. The next is the arrow, which that especially because this is a romance reading. This symbolizes like Cupid's arrow going to the person that I love most. It's reaching them. The energy I'm directing is like an arrow. It's very direct, powerful, consistent, like a string, an arrow, and it's very powerful. Hence why the power card showed up. We are both artists, oddly enough, hence why the voice. We both use our voices. And maybe that's also a sign that I should use my voice more to communicate with them to the best of my ability. Now, the rain symbolizes overcoming something, that things will be washed anew. So these are all very good cards regarding romance, especially combined. They offer a lot of hope and optimism for the future moving forward. Okay, I will shuffle these again, and then we will do career. See what the news for career is. Great Clow cards of Clow read. Reveal to me the destiny foretold regarding news regarding my career. Release. Mm, 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 mm. These are very, very interesting cards. All right, so we'll start with the watery card. This is an elemental card. Now, this symbolizes flow. This symbolizes power. It symbolizes consistency too. Um, think about it like this: 75% of our bodies are made out of water. The world is 75% water, right? So, knowing that, it's actually a good sign that it means I'm tapping into basically the greatest part of my strengths regarding my career. I apologize, people. I think I walked too much and ate too much today. It's taking its toll on me, but oh, you know what? Now I know how card captor Sakura felt when she started changing the Clow cards into Sakura cards, being tired all the time. I could relate. But hey, I guess that's a good thing. It means I'm expanding, I'm growing. So the next card I got was the create card, meaning that means, especially with the first one, I'm going to create something big, something the biggest of all my creations very soon. And I'm going to unlock my full hidden potential, the lock card, by being the bubbly person that I am, by being friendly, upbeat, positive natured, that will open more doors. And also continuing to be gentle and kind to others, but remaining strong no matter what, the wood card. So all of these are very good cards as regarding career. They all symbolize like that great changes are coming on the horizon and very positive overall message. Now, if anybody else does want their fortune told, as I always specify, if you come on live and end up watching this, just comment in the comments that you're that you would like a reading which is general future, romance, or career, and then tell your gender and zodiac sign. From that, I can get a general reading of your energy and channel it into the cards. Now, I've done it for other people, and they've always liked the results. I'm quite naturally good with it. I would never mess with tarot cards, not really my thing. But the Clow cards, well, the Clow cards have a special place deep in my heart because it's something that I've always loved ever since I was a kid. So I've just picked up a natural ability to read these things, to determine the signs of the universe regarding things with them. So yeah, if you do come on live during the remainder of this video, please comment and feel free to get a free fortune told. I like doing it for other people. I've now done it for a total of 5, maybe 6 people other than myself. So, and they've always been really impressed with their readings and they like them. They say that I have like mystical powers, which, you know, it does kind of make sense that I have mystic abilities, especially with everything going on. The fact that I've gotten premonitions ever since I was young. I have my collection of crystals here. And then also, it's funny too, because he told me he's making that song Mystic World. And when I started doing my affirmations, I kind of had a bit of a joke because this was before he told me he started making it. But I was listening to this lecture by Neville Goddard, and he was describing how people would say he was crazy, he was insane, that he was nuts. He was as mad as the Hatter, they'd say, right? And then he said, yeah, they called me the Mad Mystic of 48th Street. And then on his book, which I have here, Neville Goddard, The Complete Reader, it says a great American mystic, right? So it was funny because it was ironic. I didn't intend for it all to kind of turn out this way, but it started to reflect itself outward by thinking that way because I kept saying to myself, oh, the way I'm doing my positive affirmations in front of the mirror with Japanese music cranked every night. The neighbors probably think I'm the mad mystic of Cumberland Avenue or something. Oh, he's Super Kami Guru Alucard, the mad mystic of Cumberland Avenue. And I kept saying that, right? It was so funny to me because I just thought that, you know what? I bet you they're thinking the same thing they thought about Goddard. And then, oddly enough, he told me he started making this song called Mystic World. And I was just like, whoa. And then, especially with the end of her song, too, it's wonderful because what she's singing in the end of the song was actually part of an affirmation that I made about her. That she would end up saying that because she's singing it in English. And it's so funny because I was like, wait a second. That's literally a reflection of what I made the affirmation for her. Like, it was every day they fall more in love with me, right? Like, that was the affirmation, right? And if you listen to the end of Mystic World, what's crazy about that is, and you could listen to the song if you don't believe me, but you listen to it. That's exactly what she sings. Every day I will fall more in love with you. And it's so funny because I'm like, that was literally my affirmation. Like, that she would say that, like, that's why I was like, whoa. But either way, just of course, because she asked me to do this and she's very wonderful, she wanted me to share the single with everybody. So if you haven't actually heard the song yet, I definitely recommend you go check out Mystic World. There's the full iTunes version of the song available on YouTube now, as well as like all your streaming platforms. And then she did drop the music video last night about midnight here in Canadian time. I was so excited because I was actually one of the first people to ever see it. I was the second comment too. I was like, yeah, I was the second comment. One person beat me. But I'm like, you know what? Realistically, they could have been in a time zone that wasn't as late as me. They could have just happened to see it first. But I was just so excited because I was like, oh, I'm the second comment. And it was before it had that many likes, before it had that many views, all of it. I was like one of the first people to see it. I was just so excited to like give my support and shout outs. Now, in the last episode, oddly enough, I was talking about how I may or may not have gotten in contact with the Japanese pop artist Chisato Moritaka as well. Now, to basically continue that story, at first I thought maybe it's possible that they are because they agreed to call me, or so they said originally at first, right? But then here's the thing, they ended up giving me this excuse that they couldn't make a call. Oh, sorry, something else playing on my computer. It's actually a Neville Goddard lecture, oddly enough. But yeah, as I was saying before that interrupted me, um, oddly enough, I thought, oh, maybe they are because they added me online or whatever. They said we'd call. And then they said, like, oh, they couldn't get a call to work. Now, I honestly don't believe it really is them now. And you know what? It sucks. But I look at it as, oh, it's just another test. Maybe it just means I'm that much closer to reading the real one, right? Like the one that I would actually want to make the song, which I call Itsumo with, right? So it doesn't really shake my confidence or my spirit. But I'll tell you this, what was so strange about it all was they actually tended to lean on speaking English more than Japanese. I mean, it quickly became apparent, wait, as the foreigner here, my Japanese is more accurate than they are. Like, I could write it better than they could, even though I was using the translator. The way I was forming the sentences were, Japanese structure, the right particles and whatnot, right? And like, I could tell, like, I was phrasing it better, one, and they kept trying to talk in English, yet they said their English wasn't that good. And yeah, it got more and more bizarre to the point that I was like really starting to realize like that can't really be them. Because they asked me to get Amazon gift cards for them. And I was even joking with them at first. I was like, you're richer than me. Why would you need me to get you Amazon gift cards? I'm like, you're Chisato Moritaka. You're a television personality. You sold all these records and have a 35-year career as a Japanese pop artist. I guarantee you don't need me to buy you some Amazon gift cards, right? So right away, I kind of realized, like, okay, this person's very far fetched. And then to top it off, they told me this crazy story about them being separated from their husband and like all of this, right? And I'm like, I don't believe that. That's not traditional in Japanese culture. I don't think that it would be so. And if it was, there would be some sort of news about that. I mean, it's Chisato Moritaka, right? So I'm like, okay, I really don't believe this person is anymore. I mean, the Amazon gift cards really kind of put the nail in the coffin because I'm thinking, I'm like, you're Chisato Moritaka. You probably make more in 1 week than I make in a year. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, but if anything, that's a good sign that, you know what, more good things are coming towards my way. And it's just another test or a trial that I got to overcome and go through, right? So I'm not going to let it beat me down or dwell too much on the negative regard of it because the way I see it, you know what, something really good most likely will come of it. So yeah, just going with the flow. What Wondering what will come out with this manager sort of deal. But one thing I could say is this manager actually does seem pretty legit, and I say that because he actually struck me as somebody that was very serious. Like he was very by the books. He had a very technical approach of how he described he wanted to go with things, and he seemed very serious. He seemed like a very straight shooter, which as a manager, that's the kind of person you would want. I mean, I look at Louis Armstrong's manager, Billie Holiday's manager. He was actually the same kind of guy. I mean, he was a gangster before that, but I mean, even as a manager, he was very, to the point. Joe Glazer, I believe his name was. And yeah, he was well, he was intense. I'll put it this way though. On the bright side though, this guy, he struck me as very intense like that too. So I'm like, oh, this guy might be the good manager that will get things done the way I need. So that's very exciting in that regard. And yeah, that's pretty much all I was planning to discuss for the evening. So if anybody else does want a reading, please comment gender, zodiac sign, and general future romance or career, and I will read your fortune as well. If not, in the meantime, while we wait, I will read a little bit of Neville Goddard while we wait to see if anybody else would like their fortune told. All right, this part comes from the chapter Attitudes of the Law and the Promise. Actually, you know what? See if I can find a more shorter chapter. That way we can really get to the point. Yeah, he's got a lot of very good material, so okay, you know what? It opened up to this, and I'm like, this ties in totally to the Mystic idea I was mentioning earlier. Mystic World coming out, it's great. Mystic World, Aisteru, Hitomi, Shimatani, Itsumo. And I'm like, mystical. I'm like, mystical, Mystic World. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is what we'll read. It's not too long. And it's the chapter of Seed Time and Harvest of Neville Goddard's books, chapter 9. And it's fairly short, so I'll read this for the remainder of our time while we wait to see if anybody else would like their fortune told. And with many such parables spake he the word unto them, as they were able to hear it, but without a parable spake he not unto them. And when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples. Mark 4:3-34. This collection of parables, which is called the Bible, is a revelation of truth expressed in symbolism to reveal the laws and purposes of the mind of man. As we become aware of deeper meanings in the parables than those which are usually assigned to them, we are apprehending them mystically. Mystic world. For example, let us take a mystical view of the advice given to the disciples in Matthew 10:10. We read that as the disciples, we were ready to teach and practice the great laws of mind which had been revealed to them. They were told not to provide shoes for the journey. A disciple is one who disciplines his mind that he may consciously function and act on higher and higher levels of consciousness. The shoe was chosen as a symbol of vicarious atonement, or the spirit of let me do it for you, because the shoe protects the wearer and shields him from impurities by taking them upon himself. The aim of the disciple is always to lead himself and others from the bondage of dependency into the liberty of the sons of God. Hence the advice, take no shoes, accept no intermediary between yourself and God. Turn from all who would offer to do for you what you should do and could do far better yourself. Earth crammed with heaven, and every common bush afire with God. But only he who sees takes off his shoes. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Matthew 25:40. Every time you exercise your imagination on behalf of another, be it good, bad, or indifferent, you have literally done that to Christ, for Christ is awakened human imagination. Through the wise and loving use of imagination, man clothes and feeds Christ, and through ignorant and fearful misuse of imagination, man disrobes and scourges Christ. Let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against your neighbor. Zechariah 8:17 is sound but negative advice. A man may stop misusing his imagination on the advice of a friend. He may be negatively served by the experience of others and learn not to imagine. But that is not enough. Such lack of use of the creative power of imagination could never clothe and feed Christ. The purple robe of the Son of God is woven not by imagining evil, but by imagining the good by the active, voluntary, and loving use of the imagination. Whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Philippians 4:8. King Solomon made himself a chariot of the wood of Lebanon. He made the pillars thereof of silver, the bottom thereof of gold, the covering of it purple, the midst thereof being paved with love. The Song of Solomon 3:9 and 10. The first thing we notice is King Solomon made himself. That is what every man must eventually do. Make himself a chariot of wood, of Lebanon. By chariot, the writer is of this allegory means mind, in which stands the spirit of wisdom, Solomon, controlling the four functions of the mind, that he may build a world of love and truth. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to meet Israel his father. What tributaries follow him to Rome to grace in captive bonds his chariot wheels. If man does not make himself a chariot of wood, of the wood of Lebanon, then his will be like the queen Mob's. She is the fairy's midwife. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut. The wood of Lebanon was the mystic symbol of incorruptibility. To a mystic, it is obvious what King Solomon made himself. Silver typified knowledge, gold symbolized wisdom, and purple clothed or covered the incorruptible mind with the red of love and the blue of truth. And they clothed him with purple. Mark 15:17. Incarnate incorruptible, fourfold wisdom, clothed in purple, love, and truth, the purpose of man's experience on earth. Love is the sage's stone. It takes gold from the clod, it turns naught into aught, transforms me into God. Angelus Silesius. So, yeah. Oddly enough, he told me Chad has a song called Angelus. I'm like, wow, everything's just tying together. It's amazing. Daisuki. So yeah, we will give it a few more minutes before we conclude this broadcast, since I still have not heard from the manager by phone or by message on Twitter saying call me then. Well, very interesting though. I was just checking to see if there was anything in the meantime, but nothing. So yeah, if anybody else would like their fortune told before we do conclude this program for the evening, please comment as the usual procedure, and I will get to it right away. If not, we will give it a few more minutes and we will call it a day. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for Hitomi-chan dropping Mystic World 2. And I'm actually very excited because I actually have a special copy of the CD on its way. And like, I'm very happy because I pre-ordered it. And I did that because I really wanted just to support her. And, especially being the person I love most. And she's wonderful. She's always inspiring me. And a great thing about her is why this really ties into the whole idea of what the shield card was saying earlier. She always seems to kind of show up in the most hardest times of my life, like the most painful struggles, the most hard situations I've ever gone through. Hitomi has always somehow shown up and been there in some form of her or another. And oddly enough, like always helped me through it, inspired me. And that's why I'd even say like Boku no Anjeresu, Boku no Utsukushi Megami, Arigato gozaimasu kami-sama. Because yeah, she really is like an angel, like a beautiful goddess that always just kind of comes and saves the day. Like I know I must learn to rise, to grow in my own personal strength, to become the hero of my own story, which gradually I'm beginning to do. And I find that, especially with overcoming the struggles I once had, I'm definitely getting better at that. But I am grateful that she has helped me even get to the point where I am strong enough with my own faith in myself to stand on my own 2 feet. So yeah, I guess that's where we'll end it for today. Nobody else seems to have caught on for this broadcast this evening anyway, but it will be available after as a replay. And as I always specify too, we do this every night at 7 p.m. And if anybody is interested in reading, you can always comment after this is over too, and I would get to your reading the next day when I go live again. If you want a reading yourself, a fortune told with the Clow cards, all you have to do is just comment gender, zodiac, and if you'd like a general fortune for your future reading, romance, or career, and I will get to it right away. Either way, arigato gozaimasu minasan. Oyasumi nasai tomodachi. Mata ne.